am Emilie Bunnell. I am a new documentary filmmaker. This is actually my first feature-length documentary. I've been working in documentary TV for the last about 12 years. And this is related to kidney donor surgery. So the story is a real story about these two young women who met on a dating app. And on the third date, the one girl found out the other has lupus and has been in kidney failure for 5 years, waiting on a kidney. And as I'm sure a lot of you know, because of her medications and her complicated medical history, it was really hard to find her a match. So the other girl was really inspired by this and secretly got tested and found out that she is a donor match. And I met them just after they realized that they were a donor match, and 3 months into the relationship, they went through with kidney donor surgery. So this is their story, seen through them. Their families were with them, and their hospital staff. We were filming at Stony Brook University Hospital in Long Island. So we were there with their surgeons kind of every step of the way, from the day they found out that they were a match through where they are now. So it's kind of an interesting story, and it's gotten me really involved in the donor world. Admittedly, I really only know about kidneys, so I'm learning about other organs, but I think the universal theme here of the love and the need for awareness about donating it stretches beyond just kidneys, but I wanted to be able to come to these type of meetings to share the story and hopefully get the word out, because if nothing else, we hope that it is an inspiring story that helps other people become donors, because we know that there's a huge lack, especially in New York. New York is 50 of all states for least likely to get an organ. So we just want to make sure more and more people are aware of what's going on.
Why is it that New York is so low?
Well, we've had a lot of conversations with medical professionals about that, because I found that very curious. And there seems to be multiple things. One of them is the prevailing misconception that if you are an organ donor on your license, that first aid responders won't help you. That seems to be really prevalent. And the other issue in New York is you have to be 18 to sign up to be an organ donor, but you can get your license at 16. And when you turn 21 to renew your license, you just have to mail something back in. And it's not very clear that you can sign up to be an organ donor at that point. So they think that legislatively there's some issues, whereas other states you have to opt out of being an organ donor. In New York you have to opt in, and making people opt in is what's causing people to not even realize that it's an option.
Tell us a little bit more about, first of all, your background in getting into filmmaking.
Okay.
Secondly, how did you get connected with this story up front? And then the third, I'd love to hear a little bit about what it was like behind the scenes. I mean, this is something we don't get to see, but we're going to see this movie. What was it like to be behind the scenes? What kind of challenges did you face, and how does it affect you?
Okay. Well, I graduated from university in 2007. Wow, that's only been 10 years. It's crazy. But I studied film and television in school, and I always wanted to be a documentary filmmaker, but there's not a lot of avenues for that. Not a lot of people, especially the last few years, have watched documentaries and willing to pay to make them. So I went the little bit more traditional route and worked in news for a while. I moved to New York for the last 10 years, working for various networks doing news and long-form programming. And then the last 5 years, I've been working for a production company called Gigantic Productions, who produce this, and we do mostly documentary films for women and for millennials. It's kind of a weird niche market, but we've been doing a lot of stuff. So we've done things for the trans community and for millennials. We've done a lot of things about women and women's health issues. So it's kind of just a natural progression to take it a little step further. So I came across this story. As you'll kind of see when it opens up, Lori and Alana, the two women featured, their story went viral on the internet because it's just kind of a touching thing. And I happened to be at my desk and I saw it and just was really moved by it. The fact that they knew each other for only a few weeks when they went through with this process was just amazing to me. And so I just kind of reached out to them and just started having a relationship with them, and it kind of blossomed from there. So, once they were open to the experience, and then became getting their families open to the experience, because I think it's super important to hear what their families have to say about it. These women are only in their early 20s, so their parents are still very heavily involved in decisions they make in their life, and so we wanted to make sure we got that. Also, the point of view that their parents have is very different than what they have in their 20s, so I thought it was important to relate to see that. And then the hospital is just absolutely amazing. They were super open to us coming in, so they let us into every appointment leading up to it. And you guys know there's marathons of appointments leading up to it. We were there for everything, every conversation. On the day of surgery, we were in the OR with them, so they were really open and inclusive and really allowed us to come in and ask the millions of questions you would have as kind of an outsider. And for me, I knew about transplant. I've had some family members who've needed transplants, but it's always kind of been a little bit of a distance. This is the first time I've been really involved where you go into surgery, you just don't know what's going to happen. So as a human, I was so worried. And as a filmmaker, I couldn't let that emotion come over me. So when we were in the OR, it was a really weird experience where, like, as a person, you're like wanting to work, and like I was cheering for the girl to start peeing, which I know sounds weird, but I was like, please work. But you had to be, prepared as a person chronicling their story that it may not happen. And I think that kind of personal balance was the hardest thing to achieve, because everybody was really open and allowed us to come in and share. So that was great.
What kind of challenges in the filming did you face, given the medical environment, et cetera, or in the movie, is there a scene or something that's got a special background story that you can share that we won't know unless we hear that?
I don't know if I have any of the special stories. I think, because they were so open, a lot of the scenes really kind of speak for themselves. I think the biggest challenge is not violating HIPAA. There's hundreds of other people at every time in every hospital and every room that you're in, and I want to protect their privacy. I can't assume that everyone walking into a doctor's office wants to be on camera. So there was a little bit of the logistics of, and again, the hospital was really nice about helping us coordinate in advance, letting us know when the appointments were and figuring out what office had the materials that they needed as a medical care facility, and kind of isolated us so that we could. And it's just, you'll see there's a lot of times where you see someone in the hallway and we're not with them, and that's because we didn't want to violate other people's privacy. And we are with them through recovery, and it's a recovery wing, so there's a lot of other people that are there. So there was a lot of just kind of balancing other people's recovery or other people's treatments with getting the story of these girls. So I think that was probably the hardest part, but again, having this really great supportive medical care staff really helped with that.
What kind of special arrangements do you have to make in the surgical room itself? I mean, It's not exactly a normal room.
It's not, no, but luckily Stony Brook University is a university hospital, so they have facilities set up so that they can film a lot of these surgeries. So what it basically meant was that all of their gear is specialty cleaned so that it's germ-free. So my crew couldn't get into the surgical room. We had to use their team. So that just meant coordinating with the hospital in advance, kind of talking through literally like what happens in a surgery, what can I see, how can we figure out creatively what's going to happen here without exposing anyone else. And it just meant throughout filming, our crew had to be really healthy all the time. So we all had apps tracking our water and taking vitamins. And it was in the winter. We started filming in December. So great cold and flu season. So we had to take a lot of vitamins and all that stuff just to make sure. And if anybody woke up with a scratchy throat, like that was it, we just couldn't come in that day because we didn't want to be the reason anything went wrong there. So, and it's just, there's rules about hugging after surgery, which I learned. So we couldn't touch them or hug them, or there was things that we couldn't bring into the rooms to kind of avoid adding extra germs and things there. But again, the hospital really just gave me a brief and said, you can't violate these rules, and so we followed. But it was a learning curve because I'm a hugger, and I just wanted to be like, oh, but you can't hug. I learned that the hard way. Yeah, you can't hug.
Susan, you had a question.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there were other people in the scene, such as in the recovery room,
Yep.
were you able to get HIPAA releases from people, or did you have to film it or edit it in a way that the vision is really small?
Yeah, so I made kind of a choice going in that unless the people directly interacted with any of our kind of core characters, I guess, for lack of a better word, we wouldn't film with them. So if you'll see when they come out of surgery, they're in kind of that general recovery room. The beds next to them, we made sure not to interfere in their kind of space because they weren't directly interacting. All of the medical staff that come in and out, we had to get special medical releases from them, and we coordinated a lot of that in advance. There are a few times where you'll see other patients in the hallways as they go to appointments, and those are people that we all got specialty releases from in advance, but we did try to avoid interfering with them. So, you know, there's times where like you're in the waiting room and you're trying to take up as little space as possible so that the other people can be, you know, getting the care that they need without forcing them onto the camera. So it was just a little bit of a mindful choice to not open it up to a lot of other people. It's tough, but it can be done, but it's tough, yeah.
What a fascinating experience.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I really appreciate you guys showing up and checking this out, and I hope that you're moved by it in some way. You know, we're just, again, really hoping, if nothing else, it becomes like an educational tool to show other people. I think for me, it was really amazing to see how far a lot of science has come. I think we were talking about this earlier, you know, even giving bone marrow now is so much easier than it used to be, and that's something that I didn't even know until I started working on this, and I wasn't fully aware of the processes that are in place for some of these organ transplants, or the options you have as a person, and you know, the whole idea of like being an altruistic donor and just giving it how many lives you can save. All these things were new to me, so I'm hoping that if nothing else, someone out there is on the fence about it and they'll decide that like that they can do this too, especially young people. I think it'd be really great to get more young people out there helping.
We'll have another opportunity at the end of the film to ask more questions based on what you've seen, but is there any other questions up front that you'd like to ask? If not, as soon as Susan steps back in the room, we'll have you go ahead and start our Blu-ray.
Perfect.
And really appreciate it. And you're where in New York?
Well, I work out of Manhattan, but I live in Brooklyn.
Okay. And you had relatives down in
my
Wilmington?
parents live in Newark, in Delaware as well, so I drove up from Delaware, so I stayed with them last night. It was a little easier to commute in than commuting from Brooklyn. That rain was a great drive. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, so that's
Well, we really appreciate it. And
course.
secondly,
I appreciate you having us.
like I said, we're going to help promote this on our library, which goes up on YouTube. And secondly, something else I'd like you to share with me later on, and you can do it in private if you want. The Gift of Life Donor Program has sponsored movies in local theater in the past when it's been transplant related. I'd like you to look at this from the perspective of, would you recommend to Howard Nathan, the CEO of the organ procurement organization here, the Gift of Life Donor Program, to take on this as a sponsored event, which means putting it out, using their network of getting the message out, coming up with some ticketing situation and renting a theater, which they've done in the past. And so based on what you see, let me know what you think, and based on that, we, the TRIO chapter, will go forward or not to Howard to say, hey, we've seen this, you know, you can see this YouTube that we've made. They'd love to have the opportunity to promote organ donation with their work, and the title of this is
Bean.
And why is the title?
It'll make a little more sense when you see it.
Okay.
It's called Bean because the girls named their kidney Bean.
Okay.
They decide that now that they're sharing a kidney, they should have a name for it, so they have a shorthand way of communicating with each other about it, and they decide that they should name it Bean. And so we have named the movie Bean in honor of the kidney, who is really the star.
Okay. With that, why don't you go ahead and we'll try and do a transition here.
You all right?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I did not expect to find the kidney on Tinder, so to find a kidney and a girlfriend, I'm pretty lucky.
When you said, hey Dad, I'm gonna give away my kidney, that was a big one. But then we met you. And then we fell in love with you. And that made it important.
A kidney transplant definitely carries with it its own unique risks.
You never know if you're gonna go into surgery and just be like worse off than you were before.
You okay? Aw, Uncle Bear. I love you. I love you too. See you on the other side.
If something were to go wrong with the surgery, there's nothing that I can do to help her.
And that is what really scares me.
I don't think it's like really hit me yet, like everything's gonna change. We should have a name for it though.
What would you name a kidney?
Kyle the kidney, Kayla the kidney.
We named it Bean.
Bean.
And she wind up, she bottom, she go like a rocket. Up in the line, rock your body in time. Okay, I believe you. Work, Sinora.
Very, very neat. That was awesome. You really captured some emotions, didn't we?
Yeah. It was definitely an emotional journey. That's for sure.
Any thoughts anybody'd like to share?
Thank you. I mean, it's kind of hard not to tell a great story with those two girls. You know, they're just.
This is true.
Yeah, and I think the most amazing part is that Lori really just believes that, like, she had an extra organ, she should give it. Like, just the most beautiful person. Like, to wake up out of surgery, it's the first thing in your mind is like, how is the other person? Just, yeah, so it was really kind of an honor to get to tell that story. Yeah, thank you.
I was impressed by the families. I mean, the
Yeah.
families were just like, you know, they're on camera and they're just talking, and it was just so natural, but
Yeah.
really the whole thing is so unnatural.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were definitely a little trepidatious. You know, they had found out probably a week before we asked them to start filming that she was even going to be giving a kidney. So it was all very, very new.
And then they were going to be filmed.
Yeah, and then we asked if we could film the experience. So I think the parents were very nervous, but you know, I don't have children, but I have a mom, and my mom would have reacted the same way. And I thought that was really important to get to show that part, and because these families are so close knit, didn't want to like kind of see how it impacts everybody. Like your decision does have an impact on all of those people for good.
Yeah.
What was her announcement to her father also her coming out in terms of the relationship?
It was, yeah. We didn't really go into that part of the story because it didn't really seem like relevant,
Right.
you know, but yes, it was, which I think was actually the easiest part for her to take.
Yeah.
Was that part. I think they were just more like, you literally been on like 5 dates with this person and now you're going to give her a kidney.
And it was a perfectly understandable reaction.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
For
she
sure.
just wants it, and, you know, she's...
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they had
Yeah.
never met her before, so I think it was a totally natural reaction to have that. But this family, I mean, when they say they love Alana, it is so true. They have like, both these families have fully embraced the other family. It's like a whole cohesive unit.
He really captured that very well in the
Yeah.
filming.
Yeah, and again, it's not very hard when you have like, those people are just genuinely that wonderful in real life.
So will you be able to stay in touch with them? I mean,
Yeah, I actually do. I talk to the girls pretty much on a daily basis. Yeah, so we right now are in the process of trying to get this out and distributed through film festivals and through private screenings like this and things. So we're keeping them involved throughout the way so that they can come to as many events as they can. They unfortunately are both in school, so they had finals this week. So they were a little out. Alana actually graduates next weekend. So yeah, it's really great for her. So, but yeah, we're still talking to them constantly talking to the moms and dads. And Joe is like one of my favorite humans on the planet. So I'm like constantly talking to them. But yeah, so I hope to kind of keep in touch with them forever. I would love to see where this goes, you know, for them. You know, I don't know how long a kidney's gonna last, but I hope it lasts a really long time. So I think that we're friends forever. But
Have you had the opportunity to show this to non-transplant groups?
we have, yeah. So we started, you know, the first few people we showed it to were the families involved and the surgical staff, which was terrifying because when you're talking about medicine, you want it to be right in front of the doctors who did the surgery. But we actually just went to our first film festival in April out in Palm Springs, and we showed it to 2 audiences. And there were a few members there who, there was a lupus organization who came out, but the majority of people were just people from town who came to this festival or that we had spoken with who were interested. So it was the first time for us to really see what non-transplant people thought of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And
curious
yeah, I
about.
think it was
We think it's great.
right. Yeah, it was
Right.
nerve-wracking because I've seen it no less than 1,000 times, so I know when things are coming, so I know what to listen for from audience reaction. But I think people really liked it. I think people were really moved by it. Again, it's hard not to be kind of moved by these women. And you know, they seem to really respond well to it. I hope that it motivates in some capacity, whether that's sharing the story with someone else or telling someone to come to the next event, or it actually means that they will start signing up in some capacity for themselves. But it went over pretty well. We're going to keep moving with it. We have our next big festival in about a month, and then a few more over the summer and the fall. So we'll keep getting it out there to non-transplant orgs too. Yeah.
There's a woman that I used to work with at Penn. I used to work at Penn. And she donated a kidney to her brother who had lupus.
Okay.
And after he got the kidney, the lupus went away.
Yeah, that's been very similar to Alana, and it's not in there because, you know, her medical history is kind of constantly updating. But the most immediate thing was her heart, which went from 18% heart function to now she's over 50, which is amazing. But her lupus it's not gone, it's under remission, but it's pretty much subsided, I guess. She's still on all her medications, but she hasn't had flare-ups or other complications. And you know, they attribute it to the kidney because the kidney has made her heart work better, which has made the rest of her body work better. So yeah, we're hoping that this means that her lupus won't attack anything else and she'll be good for a while.
And the woman that donated the kidney to her brother, she is a medical doctor. And I don't think that she expected the lupus to leave or subside or go into remission, whatever it did with her brother.
Yeah.
She didn't expect that to happen because that's what I knew her prior to donating my kidney to Bob. And then she was like really excited to tell me that's what happened. So they didn't really expect that would happen.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing what your body can do when it's healthy. You know, when it has the things it needs to work, it's amazing.
Yeah, I could relate a lot myself. Not so much myself donating, but my daughter. I was a mess that day, but she donated. She died.
Bob, and so I'm really curious, from having lived through a very similar experience, what did you think of the movie?
I thought it was great.
Really captured the
Because like I said, I could
experience?
not associate me being the donor because I was like the donor. I was knocked out. I didn't know what was going on. Or the day Laura did it, it was
Oh, the daughter,
my child, yes. I was like the mom, but, you know, to her daughter. And our son had even called whatever that radio station is with Preston and Steve. He knows those DJs pretty well, I guess. And then they announced it on the radio that we were on our way to Penn for, you know, his sister to donate a kidney to his dad.
Wow. Paul?
Curious, did you make a conscious decision to be discreet about the actual surgery? I noticed that most of what you filmed came off of a monitor.
Yeah.
As opposed, and as someone who's received a kidney, I was really hoping to get into it.
Yeah, it was partially that. I think, you know, throughout the editing process, we showed it to a lot of people, and people's threshold for seeing a body cavity varies. So we tried to hit a mark where it's true to what's happening without going over the line. But the reality is we could not get right next to the bedside because then that introduces a whole bunch of other things. And we didn't want to be in the way in case an emergency happened. So we were back just a little bit from everything. So the clearest way to see it was really through the monitors. And you know, I'm not a doctor, but from what I understand, this microscopic surgery, that's really how they use to see the surgery as well. So we were kind of trying to go off of what the doctor would use. There is more footage that's a little more intense and a little more in there. I personally found it fascinating. It's really interesting to see what goes into this kind of a surgery, but we did kind of try to hit that balance between being true to what actually happens and being sensitive to people who are going to watch it.
I think it's perfect for general audiences. I don't mean to say that it should have more of a curious.
Yeah, I mean, it's super fascinating to watch. I literally do entire surgery a couple times because I'm just like, it's just amazing. But yeah, I had to kind of draw back from myself and remember what somebody who's maybe not as fascinated with blood, like, you know, somebody else might want a little more.
Were the girls immediately receptive to doing this?
Yeah, shockingly, they were super into it. I think there is like something we said about that generation. You know, they are just kind of used to chronicling their lives. And, you know, I had introduced myself like right when their story was starting to go viral. So it was kind of this whirlwind where I think it was all really exciting for them. And so they were immediately super receptive.
Yeah.
I mean, they're smart. They're very, very
Yeah.
smart women. And so we had to have a lot of conversations and set out, you know, important things for them, things they didn't want to talk about or didn't want to do, or how it was going to work. Really kind of create that type of a trust there. But they were really into it, and I think they thought it'd be really neat to be able to look back on it and to see it, and you know, to be able to share it in some capacity with other people, because Lori, as you can see, is like, she really is just that kind of person in real life, and really does want to encourage more people. And Alana works with a lot of organizations like Trio and other places to try to get more people to sign up to be a donor. So I think they both saw that like this could be a little bit bigger than just them. So they were on board right away, which was pretty fortunate, because they're just amazing and articulate. And, yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that don't know that you can be a living donor for somebody. They don't know it.
No, you don't know it, and you don't think about it until it affects someone that you love. Until it's your parent or your sibling, you don't even think about it.
I try to wear shirts like not promoting so much gift of life and all blah blah blah, but promoting organ donation.
Yeah.
And people will read my shirts and ask me, "What's that all about?" And I'll say, "I donated a kidney to my husband." "Oh, can you do that?" I says, "Yes, you can. And this is it."
Yeah, I think one of the funnest parts about doing this is as we were filming it, you know, you're talking to your colleagues and things, and all of a sudden you're realizing, like, this person I worked with 5 years ago actually, and he did give a kidney, and his partner needed a kidney as a match. So he started doing one of those, like, circle donations, and it ended up being, like, 10 people involved in it.
Yes.
And you really, like, realize you can touch a lot of lives by doing this, like, one thing. And, you know, like, with the bone marrow thing, you just can go get your mouth swabbed and find out if you're a bone marrow, and the chances are you won't get a call, but you could. And you could do this, like, little thing that really can impact someone.
It can make a huge difference. I have a cousin who had leukemia, and she had a bone marrow transplant about 5 years ago, and I remember when she first found out she had leukemia, and the whole family was worried that she was going to die. And someone from Eastern Europe who's like 20 years younger was signed up to be a bone marrow donor, and gave, and she's doing really well. So it's just like,
Pretty awesome, pretty awesome. Emilie, we thank you very much for coming and sharing.
We're sticking around through all the tech issues. I'm glad we got it to work. Yeah. Thank you for, you know, just being open to watching us and experiencing it. I hope you guys will, keep on the journey with us as we take Bean out into the world. Yeah, we will. We are, you know, waiting to hear back from a lot of festivals, one of them here in Philly, so hopefully we get into that one. And in the meantime, as Jim mentioned, we are trying to set up more and more of these kind of private screenings with organizations, bigger events where we can get more audience members. So, you know, I would love if you guys are interested at all, just any type of feedback we can offer, so we can keep that rolling, so we can.
When is the film festival in Philly?
When is it?
Yeah.
I think which one is it? I think it's the Philadelphia Film Fest. Yeah, the big one. Because there's a bunch of them in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's the bigger one. I feel like it's in the fall. So we're supposed to find out, I think, in the next few weeks.
Let's see if we can line up Gift of Life and something during that time while they're here, and that would be a nice connection.
Yeah.
I also have some other ideas of other organizations that I'm sure you could appear at their conferences, for example, things of that nature. So let's continue working together.
Great.
And we thank you. Go ahead.
Is there a website or Facebook page where we can put comments on it?
So we have our company website has the trailer up for it, but we don't have a specific website for the film. But we are on Facebook, so you can find us at Gigantic Productions on Facebook. I can make sure that you guys have the info.
You send me that contact information, I'll send it out to everybody, including those who couldn't make it today.
Yeah. Okay. Share the trailer if you want to. That's totally great. You'll find us. We're all over it, and we're all over social media, Instagram, wherever.
I think you should shout at the Cannes Film Festival.